Hello and welcome to the history of the Boston area movie theaters for 1910 to 1919. 1910. The Casino Theater opens on January 3rd. The Victoria Theater in Lawrence opens. Marcus Loew takes over the American Music Hall and renames it Orpheum again. 1911. The National Theatre opens on September 18th. The Plymouth Theatre opens on September 23rd. The Colonial Theatre in Haverhill opened on December 11th. The Puritan Theatre opens. The Jewel Theatre in Lowell opens. The Keith's Theatre in Lowell opens. The Pastime Theatre in Lowell opens. The Columbia Theatre becomes the Loew's South End. 1912. On May 6 the Olympia Theatre opens as one of the first theaters to have escalators installed. The St. James Theatres opens on August 30th, which has been gutted from the old Chickering Hall. The Huntington Avenue Theatre opens on September 23rd. On October 28th the Larcom Theatre in Beverly opens. Also these theaters opened in 1912. The Old Howard starts to show movies. The Nickelodeon is renamed Walker's Nickelodeon. The Hathaways Theatre in Lowell closes. 1913. In February Sound Movies was tried out at the National and the B.F. Keith Theaters, but failed as the sound only reached a few front rows. In Natick the Natick opened on May 25th. The Day Street Olympia Theatre in Somerville opened on August 4th. These theaters also opened in 1913. Loew's takes over the St. James Theatre. The Colonial and Symphony Theatres started to show movies. 1914. The Union Square Olympia Theatre in Somerville opened in February. The Exeter Theatre opens on May 4th. On May 11, 1914, the Somerville Theatre opens. The Modern Theatre opened on June 25th. The Globe Theatre is reopened by Loew's on September 27th. On December 7th, the Park Theatre opens and leased by Famous Players Corporation. The Toy Theatre opened in December. The Melrose Theatre opened in Melrose. The Bates Opera House in Braintree started to show movies. The Boston Theatre started to show movies. 1915. The Empire Theatre in Lawrence opens on March 15th. In Lynn, the Strand opens on November 15th. In Somerville, the Broadway Theatre opens on November 22nd. The Fenway Theatre opens on December 19th. In August, the National Theatre becomes the Hippodrome, becoming one of the first theaters to offer free parking for cars. The Broadway Theatre in Somerville becomes the Winter Hill Theatre. The Orpheum Theatre closes for rebuilding by Loews. 1916. The Loews Orpheum opens on January 16th. On April 24, 1916, the Regent Theatre in Arlington opens. The Chelsea Theatre in Chelsea opened. The Crown Theatre in Lowell opens. The Fellsway Theatre opens in Medford. The Highland Avenue Theatre in Somerville opens. The Cross Street Orpheum in Somerville opens in a converted church. The Waltham Theatre in Waltham opens. These theatres also opened in 1916. The Toy Theatre becomes the Copley Theatre. These theatres closed in 1916. 1917. The Lancaster Theatre opened on February 17th. Loews opens the Columbia Theatre on September 17th. On October 1st, the Strand Theatre in Lowell opens. The Castle Square Theatre started to show movies. The Tremont Temple started to show movies. The Medford Theatre in Medford opens. The Stoneham Theatre in Stoneham opens. 1918. The Codman Square in Dorchester opens on May 5th. The Strand Theatre in Dorchester opens on November 11th. The Orpheum Theatre in Canton opens. The Alhambra Theatre in Quincy opens. Here are the changes for 1918. The Playhouse in Lowell closes. 1919. The Central Square in Cambridge opens on March 17th. The Boston Hippodrome becomes the Waldorf on March 19th. The Strand Theatre in Belmont opens. The Warwick Theatre in Marblehead opens. Here are the changes for 1919. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe.